That's where I started reading my Bible and seeing what Jesus taught and looking around at the people there, knowing what they're involved in and how they're acting and dressing and all of that, and just being confused, not really understanding why they say they're following Jesus, but they're just really straight up ignoring most of what I saw him say in the New Testament, how they're acting and dressing and all of that. And there was this woman sitting in front of me, and she reached over, she bent over to pick up a tissue that was on a ledge in front of her. And there really wasn't much left to the imagination with what she was wearing, how they're acting and dressing and all of that. And a lot of them will just, do you think I'm going to hell because I'm not dressed modest? And it's just, that's what I mean by how it's in our hearts to dress in a way that's pleasing to the Lord. How they're acting and dressing and all of that. And I was the same way, just wanting to dress for fashion, wanting to kind of have this image or cloak of modesty. I put little quotes there. But still want to look cute and pretty and just not want to stick out too much, just wanting to blend in still. Started wearing a covering when I was still in Washington State, and I didn't really know anybody there. And I'll be honest with you, I started wearing it, and I did not want to wear it, but I saw that that's what the Bible said. I didn't want to be a hypocrite, and so I just put one on, and I actually prayed that nobody would come talk to me yet, because I didn't feel like I was ready. And I don't know if that sounds silly or not, but one thing I noticed right away, though, is the way men treated me. Before, even with, especially when I was dressing worldly, I mean, I was just an open, whatever you'd call that, just open for conversation. Most men just felt totally comfortable approaching me and hitting on me or whatever. But when I started trying to dress more modestly before I put a head covering on, I still got approached by men. I have a tattoo that's visible on my wrist, and that still seemed to be a real open door for them just to approach me and talk. But then once I put the head covering on, it never happened again. And so it hasn't happened ever since I put the head covering on. I get approached no more by men. So I was still trying to dress cute when I saw the head covering passage in 1 Corinthians 11. And that was the first time I had just sat down for a couple hours and got out the Strongs and the other books and used the internet and looked up the words that were listed in there, and I saw very clearly that we're to cover our heads. And so that came first, and the next one that I looked up then, not too long after that, was about the woman's dress. When it speaks of women's clothing and the head covering, they both speak of it being flowing, and both the clothing and the covering. I wear a head covering all the time. I believe that not only is it, the scriptures say pray without ceasing and that, but I also believe it's for modesty reasons. The hair is the woman's glory, and I don't want to have a bunch of men looking at my hair. When I was still in the world, I had very long hair, and it was beautiful, and that was another pickup line that men used. And I was, like I said, when my heart was right, I was more than happy to cover up my hair and no longer show that to people. But another reason, it talks about the headship order, and I believe that's part of that in 1 Corinthians 11. The headship order is always in place, so I believe the head covering should be in place as well. Well, like I said, I deal a lot with women on the streets, whether it be in a downtown district on a Friday or Saturday night or at a college campus. And I don't bring up modesty. It's just not something that I do. I'll just bring up, just what do you know about Jesus? What does he teach? And why aren't you following that? And, stuff like that. But inevitably, a lot of them will just, do you think I'm going to hell because I'm not dressed modest? And it's just, that's what I mean by how it's in our hearts to dress in a way that's pleasing to the Lord. But what helps bring it out is when you see other women doing it, and it just, for a lot of women, it brings conviction instantly, and I don't have to say a word about it. They just right away assume that I'm condemning them for the way they're dressing, but I'm just standing there dressed modestly, and that's what condemns them. So I think that's just interesting to note that women do see it, and a lot of women have the reaction that I'm oppressed, or I'm just brainwashed, my husband told me to dress this way, or I'm doing this because my church tells me, and it's just simply not true. I started all of this on my own, and just by reading the scriptures. So but that's a common thought, is that I do this because somebody else has told me I need to do it, or is forcing me to do it, and I'm so oppressed. But I'm free, and it's a blessing.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways, Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world.